Well, June is upon us, and that means we get to see just what is in store for us in the gaming world. It started off with a lackluster showcase from the Summer Games Fest, where the theme of the showcase was Show No Gameplay. Then, yesterday, we got the Xbox Showcase, and while there was some cinematic trailers, most of what we saw had gameplay, so I call that a win. The showcase started off with an in-game trailer for the next Call of Duty game. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 looks great. More on that later. For now, let's move on to the next game. The next game shown was none other than the next game in the Doom franchise. Doom the Dark Ages is set to release next year, and once again this trailer was in-game footage. The Doom franchise has been amazing in nearly every game that has ever released. I have no doubt that this one will be too. Up next was State of Decay 3 from Undead Labs. This too was in-game footage. I am not as familiar with this franchise as I have not played any of these games. This one did look good, though it is not my kind of game. It did not have a release time frame, which tells me it could be some time before it releases. The next game was from BioWare. Dragon Age: The Veilguard was an in-engine cinematic. This one also does not appeal to me, as it is not my kind of game, though it may appeal to some of you. It is expected to release this fall, so if you're looking forward to it, then you don't have long to wait. Then we got another entry from Bethesda. This time it was for the next expansion for Starfield. Starfield has burned me before, so I will not get too excited for whatever Shattered Space gives us. That said, we do finally get some House Varun content, and that will be a welcome addition. It seems like it will have a full storyline, much like the other factions in the base game. This could be a good sign. As you all know, I really didn't like the main story for Starfield, but I did like much of the side quests and faction quests, so my hope is that House Varun gets a good story. All of that aside, we are getting some new content right now. There will be new quests, bounties, and of course, mods. Yes, you heard me right. We are getting the creation kit for Starfield. If there is anything I've learned, it's that modders are the lifeblood of Bethesda games. This part of the update is available now, so go update your game and check out the new content. Bethesda was not done there. No, they had yet another update in store for us. This time, it was for Fallout 76. Wow! Skyline Valley releases June 12th, and with it will not only be a much needed map expansion, but also new quests, events, and much more. I will be covering the details of this update in a future episode, so stay tuned for that. By the way, that number that you saw in the trailer, it is absolutely a real number that you can call. I was not disappointed with it at all. Go ahead, give it a try for yourself. It really is quite interesting. Not only did the trailer tease us with all kinds of goodies that we'll be getting in just a few days, but it also mentioned that we will be able to play as a ghoul, though that update will not be available until next year. But hey, at least we have something to look forward to. The next game reveal was for Expedition 33. This one looks good, but it is not my cup of tea. If you're into turn-based RPGs with loads of combat, then this may be for you. It is scheduled for release next year, so keep an eye out for it. The next game is one that we saw last year, but this time it actually had more footage to see. The trailer for South of Midnight by Compulsion Games is set to release next year, and it gives us more than just a cinematic. We actually see some gameplay and learned a bit about the story too. It looks interesting. That said, it is still a ways from release. Even with the most conservative timeline, it is more than 6 months away, so showing it here was to keep interest alive. Blizzard Entertainment was up next with a new update for World of Warcraft. This trailer was just a cinematic, but it looks good nonetheless. The update, called War Within, releases August 26th of this year. Fans of the game will no doubt be excited for this. Konami was up next, and this trailer was quite good and got me interested right away. Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater has an interesting premise in that you don't start the game with any gear at all. Instead, you must find the gear that you will use, and as far as I'm aware, this has not been done before in the series. Metal Gear did not have a release date, so it could be some time before it will be playable. That said, I think I will be giving this game a go myself. I have not played any of the previous titles. If you have, let me know what you thought of the previous games in the comments below. I would love to hear from people who have played these games in the series. Sea of Thieves was up next to tease its next update that will be releasing on July 25th. I am not a Sea of Thieves player myself, but if you are one, then you will no doubt be excited for this new update. Then we got a trailer for a game called Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn. This Souls-like game has an odd premise in that the main character is apparently hunting gods. I am not a fan of Souls or Souls-like games, so this one did not appeal to me. If this is something you like, then the good news is that you don't have to wait long. Flintlock releases July 18th this year. Next, we got a trailer for the next Age of Mythology game. This real-time strategy game has a long and proud history. I am a fan of real-time strategy games, so I'm excited to play this one too. Age of Mythology Retold will be releasing on September 4th this year, and I will be playing it. The Age of Mythology games are fun because they mix the ancient world with fantasy elements, making the gameplay a bit more interesting than just having battles with medieval troops and the like. At this point in the showcase, we got hit with an exciting trailer for Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark did not have a release date, but this gameplay trailer gives me hope that the game itself will live up to the legacy of the franchise. Next was a new update for Diablo 4 titled Vessel of Hatred. This one releases October 8th of this year. The cinematic looked good, but I try not to judge games based on these types of trailers. That said, I never really got into the Diablo franchise, so I will be passing on this one. Fable was up next from Playground Games. This time we got some gameplay with the in-game footage. We saw a cinematic trailer last year for this game, so it was nice to see that the game is now in a state where we can see some actual gameplay. I know many of you have been looking forward to this game, but you still have to wait a bit longer as it will not be releasing until next year. The next game shown was a game called Fragpunk. This 5v5 hero shooter is a shooter game with a twist. That twist being cards. Yes, you use cards. They can give you power-ups or even change the conditions of the game. It's not my kind of game, but if you're into it, then you'll have to wait until next year to play it. Next, we got a gameplay trailer for Winter Burrow. This woodland survival game will have you exploring, gathering resources, crafting tools, and so much more. This is another game that I have no interest in, however, it may appeal to some of you, so you will be happy to know that it releases early next year. The next trailer was for a game called Mixtape. This teen adventure game brings us back to the 80s and 90s with a soundtrack that also comes from those eras. The trailer did not really do as good a job of building the premise behind the game, but if you are feeling nostalgic, then this may be for you. Mixtape releases next year. We then got a look at the next Flight Simulator game. Flight Simulator has a long history of producing extremely realistic flight mechanics, so much so that you can literally learn to fly with this game. The release date for this game is November 19th of this year. ZeniMax is celebrating the Elder Scrolls Online 10th anniversary with the new update called Gold Road. For a limited time, everyone can play the game for free and have access to all the DLC as well. This starts on June 18th this year. Square Enix was up next with a trailer for Life is Strange Double Exposure. This murder mystery game will have you trying to solve a murder. Once again, this is not my cup of tea, but if you are into murder mysteries, then the good news is you don't have to wait long, as this game releases on October 29th of this year. I realize that I'm kind of rapid fire going through many of these games, and I do that because there were so many to go through that if I took my time with each one, this video would be over an hour long, and most of the games shown I just don't have an interest in playing, so I'm only focusing on the games that I do plan to play. That said, this next one is one of those games. We got an in-game trailer with some gameplay from Indiana Jones from Machine Games. If nothing else, this game has got the makings of a great story. There is no concrete release date yet, but it is expected to release this year. I, for one, will definitely be getting this game. The next game shown was called Mecha Break, and it reminds me of Gundam. It looks good and has a release date set for next year. This was followed by a trailer for Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, which also releases next year. The game does look interesting, but it is still not up my alley, so moving on to the next trailer, which was for Avowed. Avowed is one of those games that people have been looking forward to for quite some time. The good news is that the wait is almost over, as it will be releasing this year. This trailer did little to show anything new, so that is a concern, as I fear the game could end up being like Hellblade 2 in that we have a very short story. To be clear, I don't think it will be as short, but the build-up for Avowed has been so much more, and it could end up biting them in the end. I guess only time will tell, though. The next trailer was for a game called Atomfall, which looks very interesting as it has a World War II vibe mixed with a bit of Fallout. I hope we see more from this game as we get closer to release, which is not until next year. This next game trailer was for Assassin's Creed Shadows, and it looks amazing. I think this trailer speaks for itself. This is another good game to add to the franchise. Shadows releases on November 15th this year, so those of you who are fans of these games will be very happy to see the next installment soon. Stalker 2 showed off some gameplay next, and it looks great. It's not a game I plan to play, but if you are going to play this, then mark this date on your calendar as it releases on September 5th this year. The last trailer was for one of the best franchises in the history of gaming, Gears of War. Gears of War E-Day did not have a release date, but man, this is exciting. To finally be getting another game in the series is a welcome surprise for everyone. This is where the showcase ended and the Call of Duty Direct began. I don't plan to go in depth on the Call of Duty in this video, but suffice it to say that based on the information within the Direct, Call of Duty is getting back to its roots and bringing back to the game what the fans have been begging for over the years since they changed everything about the franchise. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is a game with a solid story and gameplay. The story takes place in the early 90s, and it doesn't stop there, as it brings back many of the things that made the franchise so popular. This is the first time I feel drawn back into the series. This game releases on October 25th this year, and I will be getting this one. What did you think of the showcase? What games, if any, are you excited to play? Sound off in the comments below. While you're at it, like, subscribe, and share. And as always, I'm just glad you stopped by, and I'll see you in the next one.